back to the channel, everyone. Today I am excited to give you a tour of my new 2021 Trek Remedy 8. Before I do that, I wanted to thank everybody for all the likes, chatting with me in the comments, and hitting subscribe. Just past 400 subscribers, so it's been really fun for me to work in this channel. Now what I have behind me here is my 2021 Trek Remedy 8. Now if you've been following the channel previously, I actually had a 2021 Trek Roscoe 7, and that was a 27.5-inch plus size tires, hardtail, so that might give you a little bit of context around how I ended up choosing a Trek Remedy 8 as my upgrade from that bike. Now if you're watching this video to compare this bike versus other bikes, you need to understand where this bike fits in the grand scheme of riding styles. Now this bike is full suspension and it has 150mm travel in the rear and 160mm travel in the front fork. Now you might think that with 160mm travel that would make this an enduro bike. Now within the Trek lineup they have the Fuel EX, and that is 130mm travel in the rear and 140mm travel in the front fork, and they're calling that the trail bike. And they also have a Trek Slash, and that is 160mm in the rear and 170mm in the front fork, and that's their enduro bike. So you might be wondering now, if Trek has a 130mm trail bike and a 160mm enduro bike, what are they doing with this 150mm bike? Well, the Fuel and the Slash are actually 29-inch bikes, and this bike here is actually a 27.5-inch bike with 2.6-inch tires. Now the head tube angle on a Fuel is actually 66 to 66.5, and the head tube angle on the Slash is actually 64 to 64.5. And on this Remedy here, it's actually adjustable between 65.5 and 66, putting it in the middle of those two categories as well. So between the geometry of the bike, the wheel and the tire size, and the travel of the bike, I know that it's gonna allow me to have a lot of fun descending all the trails that we have here in British Columbia, as well as occasionally take it to the bike parks that we have around here as well. So now that we know where this bike fits in the grand scheme of things, let's go into the specifics of the bike. So the frame on the Remedy 8 is gonna be Trek's Alpha Platinum aluminum frame. This has internal cable routing, and we also have a nice guard for the down tube here. So for the suspension on this bike, in the rear we've got the RockShox Deluxe Select Plus 150mm travel, and then on the front fork we've got 160mm travel from the RockShox Lyrik Select Plus. So for the drivetrain on this bike, we've got the SRAM GX Eagle. This is a 30-tooth chain ring up front here, and then on the rear we've got a 10 to 52. That 52 climbing gear is real nice. And then on the rear derailleur here, I actually have a SRAM X01. This didn't come stock. If you've been following the channel, you'll know that I upgraded my Roscoe 7 to this X01 rear derailleur, and so I swapped that over onto this bike. Another thing I also swapped over is the Bontrager line pedals that I had from my previous bike. This bike does not come with pedals, so I swapped on these pedals. These are nice grippy pedals here. So for the wheels on this bike, again, they're 27.5-inch wheels. These are the Bontrager Line 30 wheels on there. In the rear, it's got the SRAM XD driver. And then for the tires, we've got Bontrager XR4 in the back, XR5 up front. And again, these are 2.6-inch tires, and there's clearance for up to 2.8-inch tires as well. Now, this is a tubeless ready setup as well. So at my local bike shop, they threw in the sealant and had it ready for me as a tubeless setup. So for the brakes, it's got the SRAM Code R brakes, 4-piston hydraulic brakes. In the front, we've got a 200mm rotor, and in the rear, we've got a 180mm rotor. Now up front here, we've got the Bontrager Line 820mm handlebars, and these have Bontrager XR Pro grips as well. And this is coming off of a Bontrager Line 50mm stem with a knock block. So for the seat setup here, we've got the Bontrager Arvada seat. The dropper post is a Bontrager Line dropper post, and it's got 150mm of travel. Now with all that, how do I like the bike so far? Well, in another video, I'm gonna do a more comprehensive review, but so far I've taken it out for a few laps, and I gotta say, I've really enjoyed this bike so far. Climbing has been great with this bike. The seat tube angle is really well positioned, and that 52-tooth gear is actually really good as well. I was actually coming off of a 50-tooth gear from my Roscoe 7, and I actually noticed those extra 2 teeth. And the suspension on this bike has been great as well. Took it off of some jumps already, and I can already tell that I'm gonna have a lot of fun challenging myself with this bike. Now, do I plan to do any upgrades on this bike? Personally, for me, this bike has a lot for me to grow into. I'm a beginner at mountain biking, and this bike is really well spec'd, so it's gonna last me for a long time, just the way it is. Now, for those of you who are more interested in a carbon bike with higher level components, you want to be looking at the Trek Remedy 9 variants, and those are going to be the higher end Remedy bikes. And is this bike worth the money? I would say if you're in this price range of bikes, and I was comparing a lot of different bikes as well, I would say this configuration just worked really well for me as far as the level of components that were on there and the type of riding that I wanted to do. So thanks for checking out this video. Click like, leave a comment if you have any questions, and click subscribe because I'll be making more videos about this Remedy 8 and about mountain biking. Otherwise, we'll see you on the next video.